I didn't feel like myself anymore. Not in my life, not in my body, and not even in my own thoughts sometimes. And what I didn't realize at the time was how many things I had been carrying without ever really stopping to include myself in any of it. I honestly don't even know exactly where to begin because there has been a lot. But I know this. Probably about 10 years ago, I started realizing that I don't know who I am anymore. I had put on weight, I was depressed, and I just felt off. Like I was living my life, but I wasn't actually. And over the years, there was a lot that I had walked through, things that people don't usually like to talk about out loud. There's been alcoholism, there's been drug abuse that led to an overdose. My marriage went through a difficult season. I experienced distance or estrangement with my daughter. I took up care of my mom while she was sick until she passed. And sometimes in the middle of all of that, I disappeared. And it wasn't all at once, it was slowly. And it wasn't just that I was overwhelmed, it was that I was grieving. Like I was grieving the version of me that I used to be. And I didn't feel like I could find her anymore. I remember looking at myself in the mirror sometimes and thinking, who is that? And even something as simple as going to the grocery store was brought me overwhelm, stress, anxiety. Like if I thought I would bump into somebody I knew, I would ditch to a different aisle because I didn't know what I wanted to say or if I even had anything to say. You ever feel that way? Yeah, I'm sure you have. But what I realized most of all was that I didn't know who I was anymore and that I was missing from my own life. And honestly, I think a lot of women hit this point. We just don't always say it out loud. I was in a house full of people, but I was so alone. And if you've ever felt that, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. My whole world changed. My kids were gone. My structure, like daily structure, was gone. The community I relied on disappeared. And what was left was me going, who am I? More recently, one of my children came to me and opened up about their identity. And over time, that's become a transition journey that we've been walking through together as a family. And last year, when I was taking care of my mom, who, oh my gosh, she lived such a full, active life. She really was so well loved. And she looked at me and she knew that I'd been in this midlife burnout, depression, or whatever. And she was like, Michelle, you need to do more things again. You need to get out more, find things that you enjoy again. She was right because I had been kind of hibernating, hiding, just existing, going through the motions. So 3 weeks later, she passed. And 2 months after that, I said yes to something. I went to college alumni weekend with some girlfriends that I hadn't spent time with in over 30 years. And my goodness, we laughed, we did yoga, we reconnected, had dinners, and it was like, oh, there she is again. And from there, I just kept saying yes to little things. Coffee was an old friend, a breakfast that turned into 6 hours of catching up, paddleboarding with my husband, which we really enjoy. I went to a concert a couple weeks ago with a couple of girlfriends. And through all of that, I realized you don't come back to yourself all at once. You come back slowly through small steps, the same way we lost ourselves, right? So I didn't go out and overhaul my entire life. That's not what happened. I started small, like really small, just little ways of including myself in my own life again. And the reason I share that is because it wasn't random. I started noticing that there were certain things that I was doing that actually helped me feel like me again, come back to myself again. Little things like checking in with myself in the morning every day, taking 10 minutes to me instead of trying to fix everything at once, writing down what I don't even know I'm feeling yet, and starting to realize that this is something that I can actually follow through with. Maybe not perfectly, but consistently enough to feel like me again. And that's what I really built everything around, those small, simple steps that help you reconnect with yourself again. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, this makes great sense, but how do I even start? I actually share something every week that walks you through these really simple, small steps, little ways to start reconnecting with yourself again. I put it together each week in my Simple Strides snapshot. It's a newsletter. I'll link it below if you want to be a part of it. And if you're ready to go even further or a little deeper, I also created a self-care journaling blueprint. It's just a really simple way to start reconnecting with yourself, pen to paper, especially on the days where you feel so disconnected that you don't even know what you need. I'll link that below too, and you can check it out. I know I just shared a whole lot of different things, a whole lot of pieces of my life all at once. And honestly, there's a whole lot more behind the scenes. If there's something here that I mentioned that you'd like to dig in deeper, please reach out to me or leave something in the comments. If there's a subject that you think I might be able to help you with that I didn't talk about, reach out again because I may, I may have been there. You're not alone and you don't have to figure it all out at once and you don't have to figure it out alone. You can start small and it still counts. So hit subscribe so that you don't miss any of these conversations. And please let me know some that you would like to be involved in. And we'll see you next week.